Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and note smasher video today, starting with the workhorse of the heavyweight division, Derek Chisora, who's 49 fights deep. He will be back in the ring in December, and that is what he has confirmed on social media. But who against? That is now the big question. It looks like the card he'll be on will be headlined by Moses Itauma, and we'll come to that momentarily. But Chisora, so he had said on an Instagram story he'd be fighting on December 13 at Manchester's Co-op Live Arena, and that is also the same arena where he beat Sweden's Otto Wardley, and that was in February earlier this year. He says, we're going back to Manchester, 13 December, road to 50, shut down. Do you understand? So book your hotels, book your restaurants. Me and Queensbury, we're coming to shut it down in Manchester, 13 December. Opponent will be announced soon. I had one, but the big boss took him, so I'm currently arguing. The big boss said what he wants, so it happens. But the road to 50 in Manchester shut down. The Last Dance 2 happening in Manchester War. And there is certainly something about Derek Chisora in his career where you have to admire his stickability, even though he's clearly faded from his prime, but he's on a little bit of having this sort of late sort of Indian summer with his career, and beating Joe Joyce, beating Otto Wardley, beating Gerald Washington. All of those guys, you know, maybe not at their best. Certainly questions about Otto Wardley's motivation. It didn't look like he wanted to be there, but he did manage to outgut it against Joe Joyce. The Gerald Washington fight, I actually did think was close. Anyway, who do you want to see Chisora in with? And is it going to be someone we actually want to see? Because it is going to be on the undercard co-main event, you'd imagine. Chisora, I'm surprised he's not headlining what he says could be his final fight. Remember, he said he wanted to get to 50, but I think where it comes to Chisora, if he keeps winning, I think he'll keep fighting. I don't think he's going to hang it up at 50. In terms of Moses Itauma, he looks like he's going to be headlining that event. You've had the ring sort of covering this as well. Frank Warren says that he doesn't know about the opponent yet. It's something we've got to sort out. We've got a way to go before we actually announce that. We've got some great cards coming up. I just can't give you any information on that at the moment because we're looking at an opponent, but that opponent is no longer available, so we've got to fish around and hunt for a new one. And he has ruled out Deontay Wilder and Daniel Dubois as opponents for Chisora. So, yeah, make of it what you will. In terms of some further comments in regards to Itauma, he says you do get that from some of them, and then the other way around of saying no thanks is to ask for crazy money, which doesn't make it economically viable. There are people obviously who do want to fight him, and we're talking to a couple at the moment. We've delivered for him as of yet, and we will deliver for him at the end of the year. Potential Jermaine Franklin, that name being bandied around after Franklin's recent performance, but Franklin will need to get himself in better condition. But let's face it, one of the things Itauma needs is someone who's durable and can take him some rounds. Give him a little bit to work with, some adversity. I mean, he needs the seasoning. There's no point him blowing guys out in 1 or 2 rounds and then ultimately getting to the top and not having much to fall back on. Remembering, still so young, 20 years old, but I guess there is the old saying, if you're good enough, you're old enough. A good fight that's been announced for the British heavyweight title is Frazer Clarke versus Jeamie Tshikeva, and this is going to be in late October on the BBC actually as well. October 25th, first time BBC having live heavyweight fights or boxing in general for some years. Boxer moving to the BBC here. Jeamie Tshikeva, he's got a little bit of a beef with Frazer Clarke, and we'll come to that. But Clarke, in terms of this being an opportunity for him, huge opportunity after his loss to Fabio Wardley some time ago, where he lost in the rematch, got sparked out in a round. Wardley obviously had watched a lot of film, managed to take him out early with some good tactics. Clarke says of this fight with Tshikeva, or Jeamie TKV as he calls himself, I'm in the sport to collect titles. The British title is what it's about, and it's time to prove that on October 25th. I'm bringing the heat. It will be a bear pit in Derby. I'm taking Jeamie very seriously. I'm really up for this one. And also saying opportunity is around every corner in this division. I'm going to do the business in impressive style. I'm preparing for this fight like it's my world title fight. And Frazer Clarke, Jeamie Tshikeva, a lot on the line here. The fight itself with the British Boxing Board of Control ordering this was a couple of months ago. He's actually sort of said of his next opponent a few months ago, Jeamie Tshikeva. He didn't care who it was. And obviously, with this fight being ordered a few months ago, it was likely to occur. Big platform, main event here. And Tshikeva is out for blood. He wants to pay Clarke back, as the ring says, for disrespect. And this was from 3 years ago. And he says, I still remember what he said in that interview. He just dismissed me on TV. I just knocked out my opponent, the same opponent he had boxed to. They asked him, what do you think of Jeamie? At the time, Clarke was coming off an injury, and he said he would just use me as a tune-up. I found that very disrespectful. Really, I've been coming for Frazer Clarke since then. This is 3 years in the making. It cooled down a little bit with us both on separate paths, but now we're fighting, so it's back on. As we know in the story notes, Jeamie Tshikeva stopped in controversial fashion to David Adelaide in April of this year, where he was caught after a break. And I thought they were going to run it back, but it did not happen. So very good opportunity for Jeamie Tshikeva and Frazer Clarke, and I think this is quite an even fight. I really do like this fight. It is one of these ones where, Frazer Clarke, he's got, good fundamentals. He can box well, but, the gas tank, a little bit of a question mark, and maybe can be a little bit plodding. Jeamie Tshikeva, maybe a little bit down on power, but he can box and move well. And he does have this ability to kind of make fights a little bit ugly and not unwatchable, but certainly he's not the greatest in terms of the entertainment front, but he knows how to sort of maneuver himself and, do enough to win a lot of rounds against opponents where he is seemingly 50-50 with. I mean, he was putting on a very good performance against David Adelaide ahead of that, incident where he was caught off the break, which ultimately led to him losing. And I'm surprised they didn't run that one back, but hey, going into this fight with Frazer Clarke with the British title on the line, that is obviously a sort of good reward for him, for his efforts, and also for Frazer Clarke. Frank Warren delivering a little bit of magic to get it on the line here for these two. And I think this is pretty much close to a 50-50, but I just kind of think that maybe Jeamie Tshikeva is going to sort of outpoint Clarke in this one, and I think he will be a little bit wary of the power of Clarke, and I don't think he's going to make it a war like Fabio Wardley did in that first fight. You've got the German prospect, the Olympic bronze medalist Nelvie Tiafack, advancing to 2-0. He was facing Ramiro Robles. This was on an MVP card in Canada, and he'd only just signed up to MVP just in this past week or so. Interesting choice joining MVP, and you can actually find this card on DAZN. So he ended it there in, I think it was the 4th round from memory. And he's an interesting prospect. I mean, when you look at a lot of the top end of the heavyweight division, there's a number of guys who'll be sort of sloughing off and retiring and just disappearing into the ether in the coming couple of years. And apart from a couple of names, and obviously Moses Itauma being one of them, there's not a lot of guys coming through that are sort of in their 20s that we can get excited about. So it's good to see some prospects coming in, and maybe this guy with a bit more sort of development, just I think, one to keep an eye on. Frank Warren is he's amped about his upcoming fight with his heavyweights Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker. So he says, I'm excited by the fight. I like the fight. So these two fighting for the WBO interim champion, which Parker holds. So you've got Parker saying what happened was, you look at it, he fights twice a year. So if you're 4th in line of the defences, you can wait 2 years before you get the shot. So Wardley wants to jump the queue because he was the WBA, or one of those trinkets. He sees it as a way of jumping the queue. It's all or nothing. The winner will get Usyk, or Usyk will vacate the title. If he vacates the title, the winner will be declared champion. And they've insisted that they want to fight. So I've said, fine, you want to fight. And the money you want to fight for, you've got to fight somebody in the top 10. And he also takes his hat off to Parker, saying, you've got to take your hat off to Parker. He's a fighting man, as is Fabio. And I like what they've both said, that when the first bell goes, they're going to walk to the centre of that ring and fight. This ain't going the distance. This is going to be a war. Eddie Hearn, it's almost like he's pulling out of the old school playbook from 5 or 6 years ago. He's now saying that Dave Allen, should he beat Aslanbek Makhmudov in this next month or so, that he could be in line for Deontay Wilder. This is sort of shades of, was it Dave Allen beats someone and he gets Alexander Povetkin? So, I mean, who remembers that one? So he says, I like the Deontay Wilder fight personally. We've reached out to Wilder's manager Shelley Finkel to talk about that, but let's see what happens October 11 first. If Dave Allen beats Makhmudov, he puts himself in line for some huge fights. Yeah, make of that what you will. I mean, to me, it's a great story, Allen coming back and then beating Johnny Fisher twice on the bounce. Obviously, pretty conclusive way to end that second fight. But at the same time, Fisher was at a certain level. I mean, Deontay Wilder, Hearn's got no real control to make that fight. That's just pure noise and hope and dreams on his part. He'd love Dave Allen to fight Deontay Wilder, but if it ever happened, it'd be a massive indictment on how far Deontay Wilder has fallen. But yeah, I'm sure Dave Allen loves to hear it though. And rounding up this heavyweight news and notes mashup video, just a little something interesting that I saw that I just wanted to quickly weigh in. This sort of press release that Jermaine Franklin had posted, basically confirming the split with Dimitri Salita, his long-term promoter, 7 years that they were together, statements by both, all that sort of stuff. It was really interesting because it actually, in November 2024, said he was a free agent, so I'm not sure what to make of it. So obviously this is now confirming officially not together. I mean, I'm not sure what the 2024 post was about, but yeah, drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.